All right, let's take a look at those 10 beats that I just played for the 10 different levels on Imagine Dragons Believer. If you didn't see that for some reason, click on the link right above me and you can watch that first. The first beat was this. This is the first rock beat that every drummer pretty much learns. It's 2 hi-hats for either 1 bass drum or 1 snare drum. 1, 2, 1, 2. For those of you who haven't taken lessons at all or have never played, some of my students, when they first start, have great difficulty even doing that. And so what I work on with them is just doing the left hand and the right foot at the same time. Just that motion. And it can be on a drum set or it can be on your legs. That's a weird thing for the brain, to do left and right at the same time. Once you get good at that, if that's what you need to work on, then you do 2. And then you do the same thing with the hands. Can I play both hands at the same time? Usually that's easier. Then I'm going to do both left. Okay, so that's beat 1. Just a note on how they're written. The reason this is not in 4/4 and it's in 12/8 is because Imagine Dragons Believer feels more like a triplet groove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you read music and you see the beat up here as I'm explaining it, it looks funky to you. That's why it looks that way. Beat number 2, we start adding triplets in our hands over this bass and snare pattern. So it goes 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Obviously a little bit harder. I would recommend, if you're struggling with that, practice just doing triplets with your hand. That can be a very weird thing, and you want to make the connection in your brain that your right hand and your left hand are swapping on the down beats, which are the numbers. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, right, left, right, left. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. If you can play this, then you try to put the bass drum on the first of the 2 triplets, and the snare, you bring the right hand for the snare over on the third of them. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Then you just speed it up. Beat 3, I've written a 2-measure beat to add a little bit of complexity and interest to this triplet feel. So beat 3 goes like this. Obviously, the second bass drum note is going to be something you're going to have to work on, because that's the first new thing since beat 2. So you'll want to work on this. Just that first half of this 2-measure groove. And you want to make the connection in your brain that the left hand plays with that bass drum. So triplet, triple, left, left. Just work on that. That's the first measure. Then the second measure, we play the bass drum on the first of the 2 triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet. And again, if you need to work on that, just repeat that over and over. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet. It's weird because your hands feel like they're switching with the bass drum. Right, left, right, left, left, right. Just practice that. When you feel like you can do that, then you've got a good start to the second measure of this beat, which is so it's triplet, 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 and then you bring your hand over, your right hand over very quickly for that last. It also feels weird. So I'm going to do that second measure again. Triplet, 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 triplet. You may see in the music I accidentally put a hi-hat above that snare on beat 3. It's all by itself. Triplet, triplet, snare, triplet, Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I'm going to play that groove, the whole 2-measure groove for you one more time. Beat number 4, which I think lands on the chorus of this song, is really fun. We start branching away from this constant triplet groove, and we're incorporating some left foot, which is cool. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 triplet. So what we're doing is a foot on 1, an open hi-hat on 2 with the left hand, and then we close that left foot to stop it from sizzling on 3 with the snare flam. 1, 2, 3. Just that is a great thing to practice, especially if you haven't done much with your left foot before. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. then all I'm doing is adding those 3 notes for triplet on 4 triplet. 4 triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4 triplet, 1, 2, 3. That's the basic groove, and then I added some other junk in there, but that's the idea of beat 4. Level 5 in this song gets a little bit funky because I started to branch away from this underlying triplet groove, and I imposed a kind of a duple feel over it. So the beat itself is not that hard. Maybe coordination-wise, getting your right hand to go bell, cymbal, and when you play the bell, try to hit with the shoulder of the stick, gives a better sound. But otherwise, it's just a normal rock beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. What's weird, so that beat's probably doesn't seem much harder than level 5, level 4. What's weird is doing that over a triplet groove. Triplet. It feels really funky. So it's more of a mental difficulty. But yeah, that's beat 5. Beat 6, I incorporate this kind of famous Afro-Cuban 12/8 pattern for the hands. And it goes like this. The way you want to learn this is probably by each group of triplet. So the first triplet is triplet, or right, left, right. And you can play it on anything. I just brought out these break drums because I had them for some other show and I thought it'd be fun to do something different here. So right, left, right, then left, right, right for the second triplet. Just practice that. Right, left, right, left, right, right. Then add the third triplet, which is left, right, left, and the last triplet, which is right, left, right. So if you play one measure of it, it sounds like this. The last connection you want to make is when you loop this beat, you're going to have a double right because you have the last note of the beat and then the first note of the beat. So all together it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what makes it groovy is to bring out the right hand. That's the cool part. Very famous Afro-Cuban beat, groove that you'll use on lots of other songs too. And then I added some difficulty by incorporating my feet on the downbeats of the triplet. And just to make it more interesting, I opened it up, and the hi-hat every other one. So this concept, this left foot kind of open splash thing can be really difficult for some. All you're doing, and when I go into the drum lessons, I'll go into more detail of this, but for now, all you're doing is instead of hitting with the toe of your foot on the pedal, this is the pedal, this is your foot, hit with the heel, and just don't roll your foot so that it stops the sizzling. You just want the cymbals to come together and stay close enough that they sizzle. I'll give close-ups of my left foot when we get to that in the drum lessons. But if you wanted to just practice that, you'd practice open, closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, that's what my foot's doing. And then you put that underneath this triplet pattern. 2, 3, 4. Pretty fun. Level 7, now I start to superimpose some weird feelings of different time signatures over top. They're called hemiolas. They're just different groupings of notes that don't feel natural. So what feels natural in this song is triplet, 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 triplet. Now if we take the same speed of rhythms, and group them in 4s, instead of feeling 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, we feel now 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You feel that? So you get 3 groups of 4 over these 12 notes instead of 4 groups of 3. If you look at the beat, it should make more sense. That's all that's happening here. And really, to begin, if this is a new concept for you, you should practice by playing the pulse in your left foot, playing triplets first, triplet for one measure, and then trying to group them into 4 the next measure. So then the next step of this beat is to just play 2 bass drums and 2 snare drums for these 4 groupings, 4-note groupings of triplet, 8-note triplets. and I'm putting an accent on the beginning of each groups of two, the two bass drum, because that further messes with your ear and makes you not feel it in triplet, 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 but beat number 8 is really just a continuation of number 7. I've actually kind of simplified it. So instead of going do do ga ga do do ga ga do do ga ga, now I'm going do do ga do do ga do do ga do do ga, and this is more of a quarter note triplet feel. So if we have triplet, triplet, if the eighth note triplets are triplet, 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 if you play every other one of those, you get this quarter note feel, quarter note triplet feel. Triplet, 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 triplet. One triplet, two. Again, so to practice that, if that's a new concept, just play eighth note triplets with your bass drum playing the downbeats, and then play quarter note triplets over that. You'll feel this change. One triplet, two triplet, two triplet, one triplet, one triplet, two triplet, two triplet. Once you can do that, then you're doing the same thing with your hands, but you're going to bring it over every third of those accents, and you play the first two here. One triplet, two triplet, two triplet, four triplet, one triplet, two triplet, two triplet, four triplet. This is the groove of the song. And then we go into the one triplet, two triplet, two triplet, four triplet, one triplet, two triplet, two triplet, four triplet. Level 9 is really just a more difficult version of level 4. In fact, when I listened to my own cover, I thought level 9 could have been harder. So I'll give you what I played for level 9 plus slightly harder level 9. This is what I played. So what that is it begins just like level 4. 1, 2, 3, and from this point it changes. I start playing triplets, and I do 2 on the snare and then 2 on the high tom. And I could do 2 again, and it would finish it out, finish the measure out. For example, it would sound like this: 1, 2, 1, 2. But to make it sound a little bit cooler at the end, I just doubled these. So instead of going pull-it, I went so 1, 2. The way you can make level 9 a little bit harder is to just throw in those 16th notes sooner. So it'll sound something like this. I don't know if I like that more, but I think it's a little bit harder because you have to play your hands faster for a longer period of time. All right, our 10th and final level, and the hardest beat of the video. I actually just ripped this beat off probably a few years ago from a recording you can see on YouTube. It's of Nate Smith playing with Chris Potter on the wheel. So if you go into YouTube and you say Chris Potter, the wheel, it should be the first video that comes up. And Nate Smith is the guy playing the drums, an absolute animal. And he was doing something in his solo that I was like, I gotta learn that. So I slowed it down and figured it out, and it's basically what you see here written out for you. So this is what it is. It kind of incorporates kind of this paradiddle-like sticking pattern with some fast double basses. So if you can't do 2 notes like that together, and that is a breakthrough moment for your development as a drummer, watch my other lessons and I'll hopefully get to that point where I can teach you that. But it requires that to be able to play this beat. This is it slowly. I think the best way to learn something like this, like anything, is to isolate what you want to work on and slow it down. So I would say take the first cell of an idea, which is this in the beat, and loop that at whatever speed you need to go at, which means as slow as you need to be able to play it. Then speed it up. You get more comfortable. Think about when can I bounce and use the fingers to make the sticks go quicker. Once you can play that little cell, you're pretty close to being able to play the whole beat because it's just placing that little cell at different points. If you look at the beat, the cell goes, then you have a double left before you play that same cell. Then the same thing, a double left before you play that cell. But instead of doing a double bass to end it, because that would result in 3 bass notes, the 2 at the end plus the 1 at the next measure, you just play another double left there so that you only have 1 bass note going into the beginning of the looped beat, if that makes sense. Snare, snare, bass, and we're back to the top. Man, it's a fun beat. I still work on that one. And it has lots of uses. And it looks funky in this song, especially because it's got the whole 2/3 thing that I had to write out, because it doesn't feel triplet at all. It feels like you're playing a 16th note groove that's actually at 32nd note speed. You know, you're doubling that 16th note feel, which is why it's so cool and hard and level 10. I hope at whatever level you're at, that was able to explain a little bit of how you can learn maybe the next level, or get better at the current beat that you need to work on. Again, if you have more questions on some of this stuff, I will start doing drum lessons hopefully later this week, and I'm going to start at 0 with no drum set and no sticks, and we'll go up to as high as I can teach and people are interested. So maybe check that out if you felt like, uh-oh, there were some gaps in the teaching there. Hopefully in this other course there will be no gaps. So thanks.